Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, we'll certainly get joined by other people. You know, this is one of the things that we do. We have such good tea and coffee in Fellowship Hall after the first service that people find it hard to pull away from that and come back in for the service. So look at all these people coming in. They're all hooked and high on coffee and tea. Okay. Welcome today. Is there anybody coming in here that's from another unity? Anybody here for the first time? Okay, well, nobody's here for the first time. You are here at the right time, in the right place, because the talk that you will receive from Syntysche is going to open your heart and your mind and give you an opportunity to live more beautifully and effectively today.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. Everyone here who's joining us in-house and everyone who's joining us online. We love spending time with you each Sunday. I had a few announcements of things coming up here at Unity of Boulder. We have a co-ed book study group. This one is kind of targeted at age 50 plus. It's a co-ed book study, so both guys and gals can show up for it. The book title is Angel Up, The Angel's Guide to Ascension. It starts this Tuesday. It goes from 2 o'clock to 3:30. It's right here in-house. It's led by our good friend Daniel Rivard. It's $60 for the 5-week class, and the book is included in that $60, so definitely check that out. You can sign up for anything like this in our bookstore. You can sign up online. You can call us during the week. So you can sign up for all these things any way like that. Next thing, we have another book group starting, and this one's going to start Monday, September 29th, and this will be on the dynamic laws of prosperity. That is a Ponder book. And that one is going to be taught by Zoilita Grant. And for those of you who don't know Zoilita Grant, she is Unity of Boulder's very own Prosperity Yoda. I would definitely check out her class if you haven't done a prosperity class in a long time. That's a 5-week class on Monday nights from 6:30 to 8 p.m. It's $105 for the 5 weeks, and it's $12 for the book, which we have in the bookstore. Definitely check them out.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity today. This is the point in our prayer where we come into the presence of this room. It's a time for prayer for others, to align ourselves with the ability and knowingness that we are all one and we're all connected, and we can send in an intention a prayer for healing in mind, body, and spirit for anyone that we love that's facing a challenge right now. There's pieces of paper in the pew in front of you that you can write their names down. You don't have to write what the issue is or their last name. We know that the universe knows what they need before we even ask, and we're going to put our energy around that to see them coming back to their inherent wholeness. The Lord's going to come down and collect those names, and we like to sing this song to come into the presence of this room, to leave the world outside these doors and just connect and give us this daily bread, really.
You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence
invite our entertainment club up to sing our opening song. And this is, we're just going to stay in a prayerful place. This song is very connected and spiritual. And so you can just stay seated and you can sing along with us when you feel guided to. And this is my son Tyler, who's going to be singing the lead today.
Hello.
Letting go of my fears, surrendering all, surrendering all, and find me here, God, as you draw me near. I'm ready for you. Ready for you. I surrender. Find me here, God, as you draw me near. I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you. And heal my soul as mercy and grace unfold. Longing and ready. Longing and ready. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna feel you more. I wanna feel you more. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna feel surrender. I wanna feel you more. I wanna feel you more. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna feel you more. I wanna feel you more.
Love it.
All right, now we'd like to welcome today's special musical guest. You guys are here so much, I don't know if this is a special event, having you guys
It's
here.
special to
Not
us.
special anymore.
It's always special to have
It's
Raven
always
Wolf
special
play.
we make it to this stage. Michael, we got really high last night. We played, 9,200 feet. We played Gilpin, wasn't that right?
Yeah, Black Hawk,
Way up high
Colorado.
in the sky, really. So it's nice to
Casino
land.
country.
That sounds about right.
Thanks for the introduction.
Raven,
Did I get you? I practiced that one for a couple days, that joke. I have other jokes, but we're going to do the music thing right now. Hang on, I'm not. Just a little more, maybe. But oh, no, okay. Heather Ballou.
Galileo's head was on the block. His crime was looking up the truth. And as the bombshells of my daily fears explode, I try to trace them to my youth. But then you had to bring up reincarnation over a couple of beers the other night. And now I'm serving time for mistakes made by another in another lifetime. How long till my soul gets it right? Can any human being ever reach that kind of light? I call on the resting soul of Galileo, king of night vision, king of insight. But then I think about my fear of motion, for which I never could explain. Some other fool across the ocean years ago must have crashed his little airplane. How long till my soul gets it right? Can any human being ever reach that kind of light? Call on the resting soul of Galileo, king of night vision, king of insight. I'm not making a joke. You know me, I take everything so seriously. If we wait for the time till our souls get it right, then at least I know there'll be no nuclear annihilation. In my lifetime, I'm still not right. That's all I've got to say. 'Cause maybe you squandered big bucks in your lifetime that now I've got to pay. But then again, it feels like some sort of inspiration to let the next life off the hook. And you say, look what I had to overcome from my last life. I think I'll write a book. How long till my soul gets it right? Can any human being ever reach that kind of light? I call on the resting soul of Galileo, king of night vision, king of insight. Till my soul gets it right. How long till my soul gets it right? How long till my soul gets it right? How long?
Wow, amazing. Always happy to have you guys. Such wonderful energy. One of my favorite songs by the Indigo Girls. So, welcome. So today's title today is Some Things Are Too Good Not to Be True. It's not written on there, but I changed the title because I give myself the right to change my mind, right? We all have to be able to change our minds sometimes. I had some amazing experiences this week in nature. Been taking more time to get out in it, knowing that, you know, we're coming into the fall season and it's cooling off. And it's also nice to go out because it's cooler with my dogs who are kind of temperamental with the heat, and just experiencing the too goodness of it all, you know, really, and getting out of the life and the world and the busyness of the day-to-day. The day-to-day responsibilities, I guess, would be really what it is. I think we're all pretty, tuned into a lot of things to achieve, the basic, being able to pay all of our bills and take care of our children and school and homework and life and all of the things that come about from this experience. And we have to realize that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and recognize the humanness in us as well, right? And having a little more compassion for that. So that's kind of what this talk is about. So if you're not able to accept your humanity, you won't be able to express your divinity. My humanity is just as precious as my divinity, because that is where I learned to love. Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you. We have this immense capacity to love. And Jesus also said, love your neighbors as you love yourself. And in a pretty divided country right now, you can see how we're sitting on different fences and pointing fingers and saying who's right or who's wrong, or we're living in this division and duality, and it's really hard to find peace in the midst of watching the news or keeping up with what's going on with the wars in the world. And the truth is I think when we're really a person that takes to task our own understanding and our own responsibility for what we bring into this world, we'll do less pointing out there and take a little bit more inventory on in here. Right? In the Bible, it says, don't point out the speck in another's eye when you have a log jam in your own. And greater words could not be written. I mean, they are so pertinent, because every time we're pointing out there's still stuff to address within oneself to become the highest and the best versions of oneself. And so really the unity path is about that. It's recognizing our humanity and what, the outer picture of that is, and then how do we turn that and transmute that into divine unfoldment, into being the beauties we want to see in this world, right? So from a unity perspective, this is vital because unity teaches that our humanity and our divinity are not separate. They are two aspects of the same wholeness of being. If you deny or reject your humanity, your emotions, struggles, imperfections, and needs, you are cutting off the very ground where spirit seeks to express. It's like trying to grow a tree without honoring the soil it's rooted in. Jesus in Unity's interpretation showed us both his humanity and his vulnerability, compassion, and even suffering, and his divinity in his miracles, wisdom, and resurrection. He didn't bypass his humanity to reach divinity. He embodied both fully. And we know in Unity we see Jesus as the way shower of what we are all capable of being. We don't see him as a separate, perfect child of God. We see ourselves as the perfect children of God, of this divine energy, this universe, this source. We call many names, and there's not a specific name for it here in Unity. It can be Mother, it can be God, it can be Allah, it can be whatever. It's just what is that greater something, that greater fuel, that greater supply that evokes and gives forth through us an incredible, beautiful life, right? So this past week I shared a fire releasing ceremony with a new friend from here at Unity of Boulder who is ready to let go of the trials and tribulations of his past. And he showed up to my home with journal entries, classwork, letters, things that carried the weight of the past. One by one, he placed them into the fire, releasing what no longer served to make a space for what is yet to come. And this is something we do at the New Year here. We burn the old, and then we take affirmations, or we build our own visualizations or affirmations of what we're going to bring for the new year. But we don't have to wait for the new year. We can do it every day when we're ready to release the old and step into a divine alignment or a consciousness that you're ready to serve now and be in expression, right? So we know when it's time to finally let go, when we're no longer needing to get the validation of the stories of the past, of the people of the past, to tell us that we are good enough, well enough to finally accept from the universe that we are just genuinely and totally perfectly loved. Perfect vessel of this divine creation through us. So it's just fun sometimes to do symbolically burn away the things that no longer serve us. So when the ceremony was complete, he and I sat together around the fire while it was still burning, and we spoke of the experiences that broke our hearts into 1,000 pieces. We shared kind of our war stories, the things that have brought us to here. And the insights that arose from those wounded places together, we honored our humanity, the younger versions of ourselves who once chose relationships, friendships, and jobs that reflected the brokenness we carried within. As we reflected, Spirit's message began to emerge that in accepting our own humanity, we find the capacity to accept the humanity of others. From that place, compassion and forgiveness are born for ourselves and for those who mirrored back to us the fragmented aspects of our souls. Are you following me here? Can you relate with that? Looking back on your life and realizing the great teachers through the diversity and the hardship and the hardcore things that we went through, how they grew us if we let them. I mean, they could have broken us and we might be still stuck there. But if we allowed them to be the very vehicle that turned us inward to find and discover the Christ potential within ourselves, then it all makes sense and it all is worth it, even though it's tough. Life isn't easy, right? So, and in the end, through the fire, the sharing, and the remembering, what we truly discovered was our wholeness, our truest selves. Up to this point, right? Well, we'll still, we're still living life. So We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and so forever we are unfolding unto oneself in deeper and deeper, more magnificent ways every day. Lewis Thomas said, "We are built to make mistakes, coded for error." Elizabeth Lesser, in her book Broken Open, which is one of my favorite books, she writes, this book is on major loss and how the things that you thought would break you were the things that actually found you, really in the field, in the valley, and grew you back, kind of the Phoenix process, I would say. And she shares a talk that she gave at a conference exploring the intersection of science and spirituality. The room was filled with brilliant scientists, and she began with this quote from Lewis Thomas, one of the great physicians and science writers of our time: "We are built to make mistakes, coded for error." Tommy studied how life itself evolves through trial and error, how cells and species adapt, survive, and thrive because of their mistakes. He even admitted that his own mistakes were his best teachers. So Elizabeth then looked out at the audience of experts and asked, if we are biologically coded for error, why do we spend so much energy pretending we are never making mistakes and acting as if we know it all? If we're coded in error, and I don't like the fact that we're coded in error, but the truth is if we are biologically coded for error, why do we spend so much energy pretending we never make mistakes? There's such a need to put on these masks that we don't fall and we don't skin our knees and we don't make mistakes. And honestly speaking, what this is saying is that's where we learn. That is the school. Life is a school. It's a spiritual school, and it's evolving the soul, and it's growing the soul at times. And sometimes we don't decide to because we have free will. We were given free will to make a choice. If we are going to step out of very, very difficult things, and some people have childhoods that you wouldn't believe that they came out of it and became the masterpieces that they did. But some of the greatest people that I admire in my life, and probably the people that you admire in your life, ask them what happened in their lives. Because most often, they've been through hell in this life. They have hurt so badly, been broken and fragmented into 1,000 pieces, and found their way back into a new version of absolute divine wholeness, remembering the truth of what was possible through them because of the difficulty that they faced. She then reminded them of the Zen teacher Shunryu Suzuki, who taught that in the beginner's mind there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind there are few. Real breakthroughs in science and spirituality in our personal lives happen when we're willing to admit, I don't know. I am still learning. I have been broken, and I'm still becoming. Sometimes I think in unity, and being in unity all my life and being in many unities, I don't think that we go into the humanity aspect. Sometimes it can feel a little bit like a bubble gum spiritual path. It's like we'll look upon it and we're going to manifest it, and we'll think it into reality, right? It's the whole kind of the idea from The Secret movie, and it just simply isn't. And it really isn't now. I think it was for a while that kind of got people on a spiritual path. But quite honestly, the universe matches our vibration. So you can even speak all that positivity out to the universe, but if there's a subtle hum of sadness or non-forgiveness or hurt or loneliness or brokenness, that's actually preceding you out in this life. That's why humanity has to be addressed. So that what we're mirroring, because it's really subconscious, and even the conscious hurts that are being put out. So vibrationally, we're trying to heal. We are attempting and will heal that which once told us we weren't perfect, or we weren't holy, or we weren't good enough, or we weren't healthy enough, or so on from there. So then we have to ask ourselves, like in the bigger picture, and this is, I think, one that we all have when we're on a spiritual path or we're seeking a new spiritual center or a place to commune with other like-minded people. The biggest question of all is, why are we here? Who asks that? Why are we here? Right? And when we're in a really difficult phase, we really say it louder. Why are we here? What is this all for? You know, when we're in one of these like years where you just cannot seem to get something going. It's like you keep hitting a door and it's closed and it's closed and it's closed and it's closed. And we can start to really lose faith that there's something greater at hand. And I've been there so many times in my life. So I have deep empathy and compassion for those places. And they were incredible teachers to me. But when you've found all the doors that are shut, it's a sign to go within this door, to connect, to remember, to serve humanity, to do something outside of oneself of worry, and to express that which is what God is in action towards self and others. In unity, acceptance of our humanity opens the door to realizing our divinity. When we embrace our wholeness, shadow and light, limitation and potential, we align with the Christ within us, that indwelling presence that is always seeking fuller expression. This is why we say, to express love, we must first accept the places we feel unlovable. To radiate peace, we must acknowledge where we feel unrest. To know our divinity, we must honor our humanity. So, to honor one's humanity, that's unity's core truth. Our humanity is not an obstacle to God, but the very vessel through which God expresses. And I'm sure if you've had a major trauma in your life, for instance, like a breakup that happened out of nowhere and you didn't expect it at all, and you found yourself in, a pool of nothing. And you might have experienced grace in those moments where you were literally empty and you had no reason to go on is how you feel when you have broken hearts, or you've lost a child. Like, there's a few people in this room right now that have lost children. I've lost a child. And in those moments, you don't want to be here anymore. And yet, hopefully and luckily, we had other children that forced us to get out of bed to help with that, and some people didn't. And they still had to find a way to still have faith that there's something greater at hand to help us develop beyond the worst cut and the worst hurt that has ever happened to us. And there's multiple ones that we go through. So I want to get back to the idea of the people that we admire the most usually went through something pretty spectacular. And I witnessed somebody my whole life that went through hell as a kid. And that's my father. Came from Hoboken, New Jersey, from the poor of the poor, living in crawl spaces. He's the one that founded Unity in Boulder 40-something years ago. And didn't have a father and had a mother that had 5 children, and she worked in fabric places, so she was never there, and they never knew if she'd be there still when they came home, because most mothers abandoned their children, and there's orphanages everywhere where they lived. And all their friends pretty much ended up in orphanages, but my grandmother was from an orphanage, so she was never going to leave her kids. But they were without food and clothes and everything you can imagine in the coldest New Jersey. And running amok on the streets, in the danger, in the thievery, and in all the things that happen when you're from that kind of poverty. And yet this person decided to go forward once he went to New York to become a playwright and all the different things. He ended up meeting my mom in New York, and my mom was a very spiritual person. And then they found the ARE, which is Edgar Casey's work, and he found his life, and he found it abundantly. But I was raised by a father that didn't have anybody that sat and read him books at night or nurtured him on those cold winter days where they hadn't eaten for days, or had what the normal childhood had. It was survival, 100% survival. But then he found unity and the spiritual path. And as you can imagine, he's in his 20s when he had his kids, so we saw the broken version of him. I mean, you look at him now and he's got these little slit monk eyes, and he's like a little enlightened man, and amazing, right? But we saw the terror of what that childhood did to him, and the healing that it takes to overcome trauma like that. And I'm sure that had a fragment effect on my brothers and I, because we knew how lucky we were to have a father that worked and provided and put a roof over our head, and we had 2 running cars, and the life was unbelievable that he could even create that out of no example whatsoever. Not any example whatsoever. But the Christ potential was within this person that could have just been like his brothers and sisters, which really didn't do anything with their lives. But he broke free of the story. And he could have blamed God, and he could have blamed his parents, and he could have blamed everybody. Like we all blame somebody for our brokenness and our limitations and why we're not living incredibly expressive. So do we say that's a special person that finds their way out of that? Or is that a person that came here to do something magnificent this lifetime? And do you think there's actually special people, or do you think you're all one of those special people? Because we're all one. We're all divine at the core. And we all have the ability to reach deeper within oneself to become the expansion of this Christ light as us in expression, to do good, not only for our spouses, for our children, but beyond. To say, how you use me, Spirit. Bring me to the exact expression of what is needed. So imagine for a moment that you are holding a beautiful clay pot. It's not perfect. It has small cracks, little uneven places where the hand of the potter pressed too firmly. Or maybe where the fire in the kiln left a mark. At first glance, you might want to hide those imperfections. But then you place a candle inside the pot. And suddenly, those same cracks and uneven places become the very places where the light shines through. The imperfections don't diminish the vessel's purpose. They reveal it. So I say our humanity is the clay pot. Our emotions, our wounds, our mistakes, these are the cracks. And our divinity is the light of the Christ within, always waiting to shine through us. If we spend our lives pretending we don't have cracks, we not only exhaust ourselves, we also block the very places where God's light longs to radiate. And Jesus himself showed us this truth, not by skipping over his humanity, but by living it fully. He wept, he felt anger, he experienced fatigue, and even despair, and yet it was precisely through his full humanity that his divinity was revealed. Jesus wept in John 11:35 at the tomb of Lazarus. Jesus openly grieved with Mary, Martha, and the community. The shortest verse in the Bible, it says Jesus wept, reveals his deep compassion and willingness to feel the fullness of sorrow. Jesus felt anger. When Jesus entered the temple and saw it turned into a marketplace, he overturned the tables of the money changers. His anger was righteous, born from love for God's house, but it was still anger, a profoundly human response. Jesus felt fatigue on his journey through Samaria. Tired as he was from the journey, he sat down by the well. He knew the weight of exhaustion just as we do. Jesus experienced despair in Gethsemane. He confessed, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." Who's felt that way before? My soul is overwhelmed. My soul is overwhelmed. We're all feeling overwhelmed. And it's nice to know that this divine way shower, that we always think as the miracle maker, also experienced what we are experiencing. We're exhausted, and we are in despair. And it's okay to feel that despair, because what's happening in this world right now is not okay. And we're trying to make it okay so we can keep doing each day, but it's not possible. If we're going to keep lying to ourselves, we have to be able to feel the grief of what it is to watch distortion have a life form. I can't even imagine what Jesus would do in this moment. These moments show us he entered fully into the depth of human despair and separation. And this is where his authority came. Jesus did not bypass his humanity to reveal divinity. He entered it fully. He was willing to walk through the shadows, to feel the sorrow, the anger, the fatigue. And in that process, he discovered the deeper meaning within hardship. That is a journey of spiritual growth, to take the fractures, the betrayals, the wounds of our early relationships, those moments where we felt abandoned, cut off, or broken, and allow God's light to meet us there. To allow God's light to meet us there. When we do the inner work of healing those fragments, what emerges is not weakness, but strength. What is born in us is not bitterness, but compassion. And when we can accept our own humanity, we accept the humanity in others. This is why when Jesus spoke, he spoke with authority. Not the authority of traditions or scholarship, but the authority of one who had lived through the shadows and came out radiant. His words carried weight because they were alive with presence born of experience. He didn't just explain rules, he revealed principles of that kingdom. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, says it this way: authority is the consciousness of truth in the soul. So that's what people felt in Jesus. He wasn't simply reciting wisdom, he was radiating the living truth, which is available to everyone. So there is a principle that some teachers call the cave, the inner depths of our being. Each of us carries within us a sacred cave, and at the entrance to it stands the shadows. Oh, fun. Okay, and the cave is the keeper of all the things we'd rather avoid, like fear, anger, isolation, limitation, grief. And on the floor of that cave are stones, each one representing those heavy feelings or wounded experience we carry. And here's the truth: we cannot express our divinity without first accepting our humanity. To walk into the cave of our being is to bend down, pick up those stones, and bring them into the light. When we do, we no longer carry them as weights in the dark. They become transformed stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. So this is where community is vital, because sometimes those stones feel too heavy to lift on our own. But in the company of prayer and in the power of collective meditation, we don't have to do the work alone. A spiritual community becomes a living, breathing model of love, embracing each other's issues that they're carrying, and we're holding a place of mirror, of pure love, that I love you anyways, and that I accept you for who you are. And I also see that you have dominion over your life, and you have authority of your life. And I want to see you to live it abundantly and blessed. So I'm going to mirror that gorgeousness to you, and you're going to mirror it back. And when we're in a lower place, higher consciousness can help us to remind us to go the higher. And we're here to bring us into this higher state of consciousness, where it doesn't mean that we're not going to still have the limited thoughts and some of the brokenness, but we're going to feel it less and less and less, and it's going to have less of a life force in our beings, so that we may express as the Christ potential more often than not. So when you think about your inner cave, what is one stone you know is there? Something heavy you've been carrying, maybe fear, anger, grief, or self-doubt. Can you recall a time in your life when you felt limited, small, or unseen? What stone might that memory represent? Is there belief you hold about yourself or about life that no longer serves you, but still lingers in the shadows? What would it feel like to bring that belief into the light? Who or what has mirrored this stone back to you? A relationship, a job, a challenge? What has it taught you about yourself? And who's also seen that stone keep coming up in different situations, different people, different circumstance? But that stone seems to be getting pulled up, which is kind of like, it's a trigger, or it's a thing that hurts you. There's something that keeps coming up, because that's usually the main teacher that's asking you to overcome it and to heal it. If you were to hand the stone over to Spirit, what new quality of life or freedom might take its place? So let's just go into a quick meditation here. And let's just take these stones into our heart and close our eyes. And let's just take a deep breath in. Invite you now to gently close your eyes or simply soften your gaze. Imagine yourself standing at the mouth of a cave. This cave is the depth of your own being. At your feet lie stones. Each stone represents a weight you have carried. Fear, a grief, an anger, a wound. In your heart, notice which stone is yours today. Perhaps it has a word written on it, or maybe just a color or a feeling. Trust what comes. Now, very gently, I invite you to pick up that stone in your mind's eye. Hold it, not with judgment, but with compassion. This is part of humanity, and it has a place in your journey. And now see yourself carrying the stone out of the shadows into the light, as the light of God shines upon it. Notice how it begins to change. Maybe it grows lighter. Maybe it warms. Maybe it even dissolves. As we hold our stones and the light together, let us pray. Loving presence, we bring our humanity to you. We bring the stones we have carried, the shadows we have faced. We know they do not define us. They are simply part of the journey toward wholeness. Shine your healing light into every fracture, every wound, every sorrow. Help me transform these stones into stepping stones, that we may walk forward with strength, compassion, and joy. And let us remember, through our cracks, our light shines most brightly. And let's just take a deep breath in. Now with a again. And gently come back into this room and open your eyes. Rumi wrote, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there." Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I will meet you there. So we have to realize that it's time to become more aware of what is moving in and through our being. Instead of denying the hurt or denying the broken places in ourselves, but actually turning towards those places in ourselves. We don't realize it, but the truth is by turning towards it, it actually loses power. Because it's really us avoiding it that it gets this power, because it's got this fear at the base of it, because we're afraid to face it. But when we face it, it immediately diminishes the power that it has over us, because now it's not in secret and it's not something we're avoiding, we're facing it, we're communing with it. And as we heal these pieces of ourselves that have been struggling, we're healing humanity, because we're aligning ourselves in a place where we can come back to our inherent wholeness. And as we take to task our healing, we're healing. We are a walking vessel of healing as we heal oneself. So to be distracted and pointing fingers at all the people that are making the mistakes. Somebody was saying to me, how do we hold this person accountable? All they're doing in their leadership role and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said to this person, it's none of your business. We're watching it all take place. We know the universe is honorable. It might not look like it right now. But while this is going on, why don't we take to task for that which we are bringing to the energetics of this world, for this gorgeous planet that we're destroying? Why don't we take on what we can take on right here and right now, to give what we can give, and give it from love? Because all of it really is doing is bringing us back to love, loving oneself more, loving others more, more accepting in a loving way. All of the above is what's going to heal and what's going to transform the things we see in the world. We are the transformation that we need to see in this world. We have to do it. So there's an author, Lynn McTaggart, and she did experiments with collective intention. This is one of the things we can do when we're upset about what we're seeing in the world. She did this collective work where she had thousands of people focusing on something as silly as seeds, right? So people put intentions to put love into seeds, and people did it through the internet, people did it in groups, but it was a collective all over the world looking at one thing of seeds and sending it energy, and the other one they didn't. And it proved to be real that our collective intentions actually make things grow. Right, so you saw the seeds that didn't get the intentions, and then the ones that got it grew unbelievably. Then she took it further, and she did it with the most polluted water in India. And they took specimens of it, and they had big groups, thousands of people all over the world, intentionally gave it to this water, and they saw a massive improvement in the water. They even did it with wars and saw them chill out when they did this intention. So I think that's helpful when we really think about the fact that we want to do something. We want to bring peace, and we want to see peace, and we want to see less people getting killed, and we want to see honor, and we want to see honesty. So first we take it on ourselves to be all those things, but then we can collectively come to church and hold these places of healing for those places, right? So then she came up with this idea of the power of 8, where she did big, huge workshops where people would sit in a group of 8, it would be 7, and one person would sit in the middle that had a physical issue. Or it could be mental or spiritual, it could be any, but had an issue and they wanted it to be healed. And for 5 minutes, 7 people would have their hands on the person that was facing an issue, and they held an energy with them. And the results were unbelievable. So it proves that collective intention or collective prayer works. It's been proven over and over again by TM, all sorts of different things. These tests have been going on with heart math. Everybody has a different way of looking at it. But the truth is the collective consciousness, we have to come together. Because we are an extension of each other, and we are better in numbers. when we do the work together, right? So today I thought, usually I have a group after the service where we're going to chat. I was going to put a circle down here, and if we needed to hold 5-minute healings on somebody that might be facing a challenge in this room, if you wanted to be the recipient or you want to be the sender. But one of the things that was really interesting about this work is that the people that were sending the prayers had just as much healing happen in their bodies as the person that was the recipient. And so this reminds us that we have to get out of ourselves and give. It is in giving that we receive. It says that in the Bible. But it's been proven that when we hold a collective space of healing for a collective world or for an individual who's facing a challenge, we actually have the ability to heal each other. Mind, body, and spirit. So I'll be holding that right after the service in the sanctuary if you want to stay and be a part of that. So imagine what it means for us as a spiritual community. If our circles, our prayers, our songs were not just Sunday rituals, but true laboratories for intentions. Imagine if we trained our minds, not just for personal affirmations, but for collective healing. Imagine what could happen if we truly understood that every thought we think, every word we speak, every intention we set belongs not only to us, but to the collective and to the whole. We can heal ourselves. We can heal each other. And we can heal the world. Let's take an offering for unity now. So if you want to participate in the healing of 8, you can just stay in the sanctuary after the service. And I just want to come up with this, just share an idea about giving and receiving. Imagine a journey from not giving due to fear and thoughts of lack to radical generosity. The journey begins with fear, the thought, if I give, I won't have enough. Many of us have lived there. It's a consciousness of separation and survival, but Spirit invites us into a shift from fear of lack to an awareness of source. We know that God is the source and the supply of everything, and that there is no limitation to that which can be manifested in one's life. But it's in giving, it's in the act and the faith of giving that we are reciprocated tenfold. So I hope you take that into your mind, and those of you watching us on Livestream, when you're taking your offerings in your hands, and we bless it with this offering statement. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive because I give. And again, we have a chance to listen to Ravenwolf.
Thank you for that beautiful message, Syntysche.
Foggy outside, all the planes have been grounded. Make the fire inside. Let's all go and stand around it. Funny, I've been there, and you've been here. understand you've been running from the man who goes by the name of the Sandman. He rides the sky like an eagle in the eye of a hurricane that's abandoned. 'cause you have missed them. Oh, I almost forgot to ask, did you hear my enlistment? Funny, I've been there, and you've been here. We ain't had no time to drink this beer, 'cause I understand you've been running from the man who goes by the name of the Sandman. He rides the sky like an eagle in the eye of a hurricane that's abandoned. Well, I understand you've been running from the man who goes by the name of the Sandman. He rides the sky like an eagle in the eye of a hurricane that's abandoned. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. If you're facing a challenge today, we have prayer partners available to you. You can just stay seated in your seat, and they'll come and find you and take you down to our beautiful meditation room and pray with you. We're going to be doing... Need some light on those steps, huh?
Stop drinking on Sunday morning.
We're going to be circling up if you guys want to join in an intention prayer moment for anyone that would, well, I don't know how many people we can do. We'll have about an hour we could do it. And then I'm going into the prayer partner training. For those of you that came to the training 2 weeks ago, we're going to be doing some, a clinic of prayer with each other for an hour from 1 to 2. All right, let's all rise and close with Let There Be Peace on Earth. The live stream on. For those of you that want to send some intention of prayer for the people who are going to do this in the circle, we will leave it on for you to be participating with us as well. And so we're going to set up a circle right here. Into the sevenths now, and I'll keep the time. Here we go. now we're going to see Julie released of doubt and worry. We're so grateful for Spirit for moving in and through us to help Julie release the doubt and worry so she may be free. Amen. Is there anything you can share that you experienced?
So much light. I mean, I actually had a visual of Jesus. Just like, like smiling and just reminding me that there's nothing to worry about. Because all is well. And you see it so clearly from over here. And yeah, just like expansiveness and lightness and just so much love.
So you guys want to get in the center? So state your name. Astrid Belt. And what is your intention today?
Heal my rotator cuff surgery and release the fear of it not healing.
So Astrid Belt wants to heal from the fear of not healing completely from her rotator cuff surgery. So we want to see her knowing and claiming that she is healing and she will be better than before in perfection and wholeness. Here we go. Are you okay with being touched? Okay. So now we see Astrid Bell released of fear and in a complete and total knowing that she is healed. She's already healed. She's claiming it, living it. We're so grateful that she knows her power, her spiritual power to come back to perfection and to wholeness. So we give thanks, Spirit. Amen. You want to share anything that you felt?
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I just felt so warm and held. So grateful. And I was thinking about the prayer of protection, and especially that sentence, wherever we are, God is. And it felt really good. Thank you.
We've got one more. You want to go? Okay. So give us your name and what you would like to be intended to heal for you.
My name is Robert Cox. I'd like to get rid of fear and some anger and some pride and no longer be estranged from my daughter.
Give us your name again.
Robert Cox.
Cox. Okay. So our intention is to release him from anger and fear and estrangement of his daughter. And so it is. Here we go. So we see you released of anger and fear. And we see you connected back with your daughter, where understanding and communication is healed, and that you meet heart to heart, mind to mind. Spirit is moving in and through both of your lives to bring you back together for healing. We're so grateful, Spirit. Amen. Do you want to share how you're feeling? Or you just want to be with it?
I feel like there's hope. I know I need to. I know I need to write a handwritten letter instead of other ways. I need her to let her know my love. Thanks for your healing.
All right, you got this. Wants to do it? Do you want to try it? Do you want to get in? Yeah. Do you need any healing? Okay. Steve and I have to prepare for our prayer clinic. Whatever that looks like. I think this is all we really need to do. Honestly, no words, just hold the space, you know. All right, Tony, so what's on your heart that you would like to, an intention for you?
Fear and anger. That's it. Fear and anger.
So Tony wants to release fear and anger. And so, here we go. Are you okay with being touched?
Yes.
Okay. So now we see Tony released of fear and anger so that she may be free, happy, wistful, alive and awake and enthusiastic. We give thanks, Spirit, for this time and this connection. Amen. So glad. All right.
Try to address someone else's anger. Take a message for yourself. Vomiting up, evaporating.
And so when we leave the circle, we want to wash our hands, just to release ourselves, to not take anybody else's. We all have our own stuff we're carrying, so it's good to get rid of it from our own energetic spaces. So I give thanks for all of you. We'll do this again soon. Thank you, everybody on Livestream that joined us and sent your intentions this way. We send those blessings back to you, and we are grateful. Thank you. And you can leave the chairs because we're going to do the prayer thing in here anyway. So. Okay. I need the cheat sheet, the one sheet that has like the 7 process. Because the one I have is, the one I memorized is different than your sheets. This one is, I got it on my phone. So I can. Can you email it to me and I can make some copies? Just give me the whole worksheet. Yeah, we need the whole packet. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Awesome. Huh? Yeah. It's nice to do that. It felt really good. Huh? You can turn me on.
We can have that mic.
Thank you.
Check 1, check 2. Currently interviewing Steve Sheets. How are you?